Revision 10. Inspect the colony. It's still in the wrap. Sami and Tan stand on the runway apron in their risk armor and stare. The light is deep violet, falling to black, this eerie anti-golden hour. Everything looks adobe, faced in clay. The Meccans must have used the local rock to cover and connect prefab buildings, then wrapped everything up in clinging membran to keep it fresh until people arrived. The whole colony is still in its sheeting. Low-pressure atmosphere has sifted fine clay dust over the wrap, then gathered it with licks of rain into orange clots. It looks tasty. "So why are the lights on?" Sami asks. "Tan?" Tan wiggles his belly against the tarmac and rumbles thoughtfully. "I feel machines, industrial equipment, operating near the center of town. Probably at the mining face? Those big ticks look like drone digging sheds. I wonder if they tried to operate the colony remotely." Sami exhales in relief. That would explain everything. Lights are on because the power's on. The mining shed's churning away, doing what they do best, filling cargo containers with moxide. And if they find anything they don't know how to handle, what do they do with it? They toss it aside and wait for a human operator to decide. "I get it," Sami announces, bouncing up on their toes. The armor makes this nearly impossible, but Sami is determined to bounce. The metal man loves machines, right? He switched this place on remotely. Now the machines have dug up something they can't identify, and he wants us to find out what it is. So he sends us in foolish, like a couple living essays, and we figure out if it's, dangerous or valuable or whatever. Tan? Tan sniffs. His armor sucks air through its phlegm node, samples it, and renders equivalent smells out of a synthetic library for him to inhale. "I smell dinner," he says. "Dorowat and Tibbs and a big plate of bread." Sami stops bouncing. "What?" "Someone's hungry. Someone's got to eat." "No, Tan, this place is being run remote. There's nobody here to... Damn it! Someone got here before us." Lactopult's crew, or Captain Scour, or the Runt. Someone a lot better armed than Sami and Tan, but someone who doesn't need this score nearly as bad. Tan raises his arms, his metal-shearing work claws snap open. "Sometimes I think," Sami sends, "that the spread of effective and affordable personal body armor has made violence too appealing for the modern renegade. You shoot first, you probably won't even kill anyone. Just knock them out of the fight. So why not blast them and then ask questions?" "Captain," Tan hisses back, "if you transmit, you're gonna get diffed." "Direction finding? Please. They don't know we're here, or they'd keep their smells sealed up. The modern renegade also uses sensors, like the phlegm on Tan's armor." "How could they not know we're here? We flew down out of the unset and did a pass over the whole colony." "Oh, true." Sami is very focused on details, but they sometimes fixate on exactly the wrong details. "So why wasn't anyone waiting at the runway? Afraid of the Surima's guns?" The ship has no guns. "Maybe they're squatters. But who would squat on Sigma, where you can't breathe without a slipsuit? Someone who really needs to hide? Did the metal man send them to take a bounty?" Sami spiders up between two adjacent housing blocks. They have to stop to sneeze. There's mold in their armor. When they inhale again, their phlegm activates and they smell it. The armor's imitation of tasty raw chicken and raw beef, piled up on a plate of injera bread. "I think I'm next to the smell," Sami sends. "Let me find a window to peep through." They crawl up another half-meter and stick their chin over a windowsill. A house sensor's irises open right at forehead height. The house transmits, quite loud and clear. "Welcome to the Chopright family home. We invite a guest for dinner if you're in need. Take a look at our manner slate and leave your boots on the mat. Our 2-year-old isn't comfortable with guests, so please let her set her own boundaries." "Good sneaking," Tan sends. "Spotted by a house." "I didn't know it was an extrovert." Sami ducks back down, waiting for whoever's eating inside to make a ruckus, or possibly shoot them through the wall. Nothing happens. Sammy calls up the house manor slate on wireless and gives it a scan. Polite, fashionable, no sign of a strong religious affiliation. Monoist, Sunstar Summist, Faithful, Absurdist, Reform Pith, Deform Pith. None of them apparently answers the Chopwright's existential questions. There's a construction certificate, 3 years old, but the Chopwrights never actually showed up. Their friendly house just sat here under the soft rains. 3 years, Sammy repeats. What? The house was built 3 years ago. The Chopwrights filled out their preferences but never showed up. Tan rumbles. So how does the house know they have a 2-year-old child? Maybe the kid was scheduled? Maybe they're right here, eating Dorowats and Tibs. Where's the smell from? Oh, it smells good. There's a tear in the membran sheeting where the epoxy between 2 sheets failed. Right behind it is the window that spotted Sammy. It's porous, 2-way breathing plastic, the kind that keeps your house's humidity and air balanced. The smell's coming from there. Sammy stares inside. It's a common room with a table. Cushions out for kneeling, basin for hand-washing, full of water. A big bread plate with, Sammy's stomach rumbles, Dorowat and raw steak Tibs. They ate like this every night at the end of kitchen service, years ago on the worm speaker. The lights are on. A teapot simmers on an induction plate, burping hot water onto the tacky, self-cleaning floor. There are torn squares of injera bread on the plates, like someone was in the middle of serving dinner. I'm sorry, the house says. The Chopwrights aren't here to receive guests right now. Please make yourself at home. What's ours is yours. It's the same. Everywhere. Like everyone stood up and walked away in the middle of life. I've got the Colony Vi on wireless, Tan reports. Humans are famously bad at splitting attention between reality and the virtual, so Sammy leaves that to Tan. For Kov, it's like splitting your attention between left and right eye. I convinced it I'm an inspector. Maps, safety records. There's a lot here. Vi's are smart in the same way as slime molds are smart. Creatures of data, capable of solving exponentially complex problems, but without any underlying model of reality. They're great for planning and administration, especially the kind of multivariable, constantly changing problems that drive most Socians to howling frustration. They grow their pseudopods of optimization out into the maze of possible futures, feeding the one that finds reward. They are not, however, known for their common sense. No, I don't think so. It says no one ever showed up to work here. Does it think it's being operated remotely? No. What do you feel out there? Sammy hops from rooftop to plastic-wrapped rooftop. Membran crunches satisfyingly underfoot as they land, crouch, kick off, soar. They're heading for the colony center. The Surima's sensors detected heat and carbon dioxide from 20,000 people. They've got to be here somewhere. It's a nice place. Savannah layout, cells of 4 habitants and 4 civic buildings around a central square. Savannah layout because you evolved on a savanna? I suppose. The squares look nice. Of course, you can't go outside without a slip suit. The air is thin. You wouldn't need a full pressure suit, but you'd need heating and a breather. I didn't know you were interested in colony planning, Captain. You fly over enough of them, you get curious why they make those shapes. Human urban planning is very different from modern Kov settlements. Humans don't make as many preparations to flee. I'm coming up on a big avenue. Looks like a track for trains to carry cargo to and from the spaceport. Sammy sneezes, coughs, sucks down moldy air and jumps to the next building. Wait while Oh! Walls. Captain? What can they say? Captain, Sammy, talk to me. Are you all right? Yes, you have my vitals. You can see I'm fine. I didn't ask if you were fine. Please talk to me or I'll have to decide to come over there myself. There are slip suits. Empty slip suits. Everywhere. Hundreds of them. Strewn like palm fronds on a decorative carpet, all down the avenue. Like the remnants of some strange molting. Did people wear them? Sammy scurries down to ground level. The nearest slipsuit twitches in the thin sunset wind. The attached breather is switched on. It's run empty. Sami loves to touch things. Maybe a little too much. They twist off their right gauntlet, then they stretch their bare fingers out into the cool air and stroke the empty slipsuit. Warm. Warm like skin. Wet. Like it's sweating. They look up at the field of empty suits and get an ugly chill. Yeah. They're used. Recently used. Like people tore them off a minute ago. They turn the empty suit over, find the seal, and push a hand inside, expecting to touch ghost flesh, but there's nothing. Sami shivers. Ask the Vi if there are people hiding around here. A storage container full of slipsuits cracked open. They blew down this road. What? No! And the breathers turned on and ran empty? It doesn't make sense. I'm not guessing. The Vi says the storage containers upwind have bad gaskets. One of them cracked open. The slipsuits blew away. Then why are the breathers switched on? Maybe they had bad gaskets too. Sami rises from the translucent husk, looks around. Tan, stop being reasonable for a second. It looks like 100 people dropped dead and evaporated and left their suits behind. It does feel like that. The metal man wanted us to find something important here. Why did he only send us? Just us? No muscle, no minders, just two losers with a broken-down ship. I'm not a loser. That's true, you're not. I'm sorry. Tan, what if he only sent us because he's trying to limit his losses? A rumble on the radio. You think he knows what got dug up here? And he's sending us to see what happens? Yes. What should we do? Go back to the ship. Pre-flight her. Get ready to take off the moment I'm back. And if I don't come back, you've got to find someone who will look for Miri. No. Sami sneezes on suit mold. What? Tan never makes decisions. I'm staying with you. Let me limit my losses. Tan rumbles elliptically, and I want to stop talking about this sound. Captain, I'm checking the Vi's audio records. There's something. What? What is it? I'll send it over. Of course, I've got the sound all set up for Kov hearing ranges. Tan, just tell me. The Vi hears something at the center of the colony, near the big tick sheds on the mining face. Captain, I think it's a cat. When Miri lived on Sarima, she had a routine. We can't call it a routine, it wasn't that reliable. A habit, a behavior that she would sometimes emit. She would roll on her back making cryptic gurgles until someone, Sami, often, reached down to pet her creamy white belly fluff. Then she would latch on to the grasping appendage, an arm, usually, with all four of her legs and kick it furiously with her back legs, as if disemboweling it. Only she kept her claws retracted, so that all you felt was her little jelly bean toe pads brushing on your skin. While doing this, she would gape her toothy little maw open and look around wildly, as if she were bewildered by her own excitement. Then she would begin industriously licking your limb, starting at the wrist and progressing toward the elbow, rasping away busily with her tongue. If you tried to pull away, she would shout, "Nyah!" and kick at you with her toe beans. You just had to wait while she crawled up your limb, adjusting her grip, like some kind of industrial machine traversing a length of pipe, cleaning every patch of skin or scale she could reach until, at last, she was on your shoulder, licking the side of your face and purring, having expressed the overflowing agita of her love. Revision 10. Query the Vi. The colony Vi is extraordinarily intelligent, but it has no need for self-awareness and no concept of reality. It is a network of data in phase space. It experiences nothing as Tannuk shells it with questions. Tan the man. Why are there discarded slipsuits on the spaceport avenue? They blew away from a storage container with a failed gasket. Their clumping is within the stochastic distribution of wind-blown randomness. Tan the man. Why is the food hall on the avenue serving a full meal? Captain Sami reports carboys full of cactus tea and melting ice. There are buffet stations with adobo raw chicken on induction heat. There are loose food trays. There is a garlic sauce spill with boot prints in it. The food hall mechans prepared a full meal as a rehearsal. One mechan suffered a mechanical failure and dropped its load of trays. A maintenance mechan arrived to repair the failure, leaving the boot tracks you observe. Tan the man. Why would you prepare a full meal as a rehearsal? There was a refrigeration failure. The food would otherwise have spoiled. Tan the man. It seems as if the trays were dropped by people fleeing in fear. They were not. There are no people here. Tan the man. Captain Sami reports a roadside fire main has been opened onto the tarmac to create a puddle. Several work gloves drift on the surface. What is the explanation for this? The fire main had faulty gaskets. Maintenance mechans opened the valve to lower the local pressure in preparation for repairs. The work gloves were blown here alongside the slipsuits. Tan the man. It seems like people opened a water tank, dipped their glove hands in it, and disappeared. There are clear surveillance records indicating otherwise. Tan the man. Are you familiar with the work of Crampton Severine? Crampton Severine is a human author of horror/unease fiction, an art form which exploits the human ability to entertain the unreal as emotionally relevant. Severine portrays the Edge, the known universe, as a malignant puppet show operated by unknowable beings who mock human notions of causality. Ultimately, the universe is revealed to be a theater for suffering, without reason or ultimate purpose. Tan the man. Thanks. My captain won't stop talking about Crampton Severine. There is a new logon from a privileged terminal. The new user is Sarima_Sami. The new logon sends a query. Sarima Sami. Inventory non-worker life in Sigma's Reach. The Sigma's Reach colony has no life in it, worker or otherwise. Some livestock were grown in test batches, but they lacked any higher nervous system. Sarima Sami. Inventory atmospheric carbon dioxide and heat. Atmospheric CO2 and heat is consistent with the colony's anticipated population of 14,000 workers and their families. Sarima Sami. Why? Carbon dioxide off-gassing and thermal stresses caused by tidal forces acting on Sigma. Sarima Sami. Cov shit. Sorry, Tan. Tan the man. I agree, though. Absolute man shit. Vi, let's inventory supply consumption. Sigma's Reach has received automated deliveries of consumables such as water, food, spices, tools, medicine, clothing, and low-pressure safety gear. Tan the man. Why? High spoilage and stockpiled supplies require replacement. Sarima Sami. Is the spoilage rate consistent with consumption by a population of between 10 and 20,000? Yes, but there is no such population. The actual cause is storage container gasket failure. The probable cause is a polymer-eating microbe that arrived with the first wave of colonists. Sarima Sami. What first wave of colonists? The Vi detects and prunes erroneous low-level connections in its bulk, so vestigial they seem close to random noise. It resumes normal function. That statement was in error. The gasket failure was probably caused by a polymer-eating microbe that infected the first wave of supplies sent to the colony stockpiles. Tan the man. Captain, you're getting distracted. Sarima Sami. Tan, I'm getting upset. But yeah, where's the cat? Where's the cat? There are no cats on Sigma's Reach. Sarima Sami. I hear a cat. There is an audio anomaly on the mine's workface, near one of the clay processing sheds. It is probably a mechanical strain. It does resemble the calls of a domestic cat in distress, but it is caused by metal under repeated stress. Sarima Sami. Give me a waypoint. There is another sound nearby. It is a periodic knocking, like a piece of gravel rattling against a wall. It is associated with the report of an anomalous object from one of the processing shed's sorting mechanisms. Sarima Sami. Give me a waypoint! Revision 10. Chase the cat. Captain, wait! No time to wait. There has never been time to wait for anything. Sami must go forward. Forward, out of the past with its disappointed crew and vanished cats. Forward into a future where everything is finally right. Ship and crew and cat and self, that dying voice on the worm speaker's flight deck, the rasp of prophecy from ruined lungs. You will come to nothing, Sami. Finally proven wrong. And if that means leaving Tan behind for a little bit, just a few minutes, not forever, then run. Run. Sami tears down the rails of the colony's big cargo hall, past ingots of plastic-wrapped titanium which wait, stacked like precious cheeses, for someone to need them. Sami sprints past the frozen construction of a colony which never had any colonists, except, it feels, the ones who vanish just a moment before Sami lays eyes on. There was hot food in the hall near the spaceport. There were gloves drifting in the pooled water, like people knelt together to hide from some rising fire. Captain, before you go in, wait for me. Wait! No. There's a cat in trouble. And maybe it is Miri. But even if it isn't, someone has to save the damn cat. Sami balance beam sprints down the cargo rails, through a bola garage. The huge biolabor amplifiers are caught in crazed postures of urgency. They're unplugged from their maintenance candles, tethers and plugs tentacle wild, bristling with wrecking magnets and water. One of them can't hold its posture. It staggers as if shoved, its onboard shouting, "Work regime violation!" There is no one piloting the bola, of course, just like there's no one to exhale 20,000 human bodies worth of carbon dioxide and heat. There are no people on Sigma's reach. But now, as Sami plunges forward, closer and closer to the mining face, there are shadows of people. Right there, below the cargo rail. Look, baked into the clay. Glazed impressions of bodies twisting in anguish. The silhouettes reach desperately for the shadow of the rail, but cannot reach it. Something awful happened here. Just an instant ago. A moment before Sami saw... But there is no sound. No movement. Not one living or dying thing. Sami runs astonished through a field of glass flowers, frozen explosions in the clay. It looks as if the center of the colony was bombarded, prickled with explosive heat from the sky, and the bombardment stopped mid-second. They managed to choke a question to the colony Vi. Why are these here? The Vi replies tersely. Lightning strikes. There are people, dead people. Lightning fulgurites may resemble human forms. Lightning on an arid planet with no thunderstorms? Orographic lifting builds up charge in dry dust storms ascending the Tethys. The lightning discharges at the mining face due to the presence of large metal structures. No people here. Never were. Just coincidences that resemble people. Just lightning that strikes glass into the form of burnt bodies. And large metal structures. Ahead of Sami, a row of clay processing sheds stretches out to the left and the right. Their beetle shell backs, ready to open and deliver their yield to grasping cranes, are patterned with bright graphic tiles of Eumidian midden-mass art. Eumidian, turquoise acid digesting the black compost of the past into green, growing future. The huge machines would do most of the work of mining here. Maybe the metal man has switched them on and made them active. They take in clay and fracture it, crush it, grind it, screen it, dry it, calcine it, bleach it, plunge it, and extrude it into processed product. Anything strange they find would be stored, waiting for someone to come check it out. The sound of the cat is coming from the nearest processing shed. Sami kicks off the rails, vaulting 3 meters up and forward to grab the access ladder beside the shed's folded-up work ramp. They slap at the emergency release, huffing, wheezing on the suit mold, and pull it so hard it twists. The hatch slashes open. Sami wiggles in head first and plunges down the access chute. Up ahead, the irregular rattle of something slapping into metal, then into wetness, and the bawl of a cat in desperate distress. "Hang on!" Sami shouts. "Hang on, I'm coming!" They fall out of the emergency accessway, straight forward into the pitch dark. The floor is soft. They hit with a nominal oof. Suit lights reveal a label on the fabric floor. Quality Assurance Syst 01. From the darkness, a cat growls softly. "Miri?" No response. Just that random rattle of something hard hitting metal, hitting wetness. "Sorry," Sami whispers, and the fires shoot sonar into the darkness. The QA cyst is a soft-walled bladder. The walls are made of detonation-grade membran, capable of stretching 100-fold without breaking. "Vi," Sami says, "what's the purpose of this space?" The Vi doesn't answer. The QA cyst is isolated, mechanically and otherwise, from the rest of the colony. This is where the clay processing shed stashes anything it doesn't know what to do with. And even Sami, a criminal of motley education, knows that Pinnacle takes very seriously the control of unidentified stuff mined from alien ground. Maybe the artifact is here. A perfect place to keep something safe. "Hey," Sami calls softly. "Psst, psst, psst, psst." No cat. Sometimes in movies, slivers mimic the sounds of things they hear to lure you in. Of course, slivers aren't real. There's an armored shutter at the far end of the cyst. This is where the shed ejects unknown objects. They roll down into the inspection pool at the bottom of the cyst. The armored shutter is popped loose. It's swinging free. Is that where the cat sounds are coming from? Tortured alloy? The pool is a greasy, clear puddle of sheer starch. Sheer starch acts as a solid when struck by anything moving too energetically, and the cyst's walls are meant to protect everyone outside in the sad event that the shed plucks up something really dangerous, like a singularity bead, or a relic of some ancient war between bleached things, or a fetal worm. There's something moving in the inspection pool. Sami's armor experiences a series of software crashes. Motion under the sheer starch. Something moving quickly and erratically, something which makes a sound, a voice, a word. Chosen. Revision 10. Keep going. Chosen. No, that's not right. The voice in the pool sounds like Seimer, but it's not. It's just rattling and sloshing around, and Sami's brain is hallucinating words in the noise, words like, "Chosen one." Sami steps closer. Who doesn't want to be the chosen one? The one who does the choosing? The thing moving in the white murk of the pool looks like a hunk of raw pitchblende, a dark, unpolished egg. Its surface is oily black, pebbled with little blisters that tempt Sami to poke them like a fidget toy. It looks weirdly lickable. But maybe this is only true, this desire to lick, if you are Sami, a tactile maniac. But there is a faint blur around it. A pink astigmatism, like light isn't quite sure of the right path to take, so it experiments with all of them. Rainbow interference patterns spray from its glossy highlights. Oh, and it's shooting around like a gnat. The whole pool full of sheer starch is stirred, like it's soaked up heat from below, and this has created a slow vortex on which the hunk slips like a kernel of popcorn. "Okay," Sami says. "Okay, I see you." This has to be it, right? The Metal Man's artifact? The thing he sent Sami and Tan to find. Sami may be naive, but they are not naive enough to touch this thing. Proper handling now. Carefully. Moving slowly, as if planning to trap a skittish cat, Sami unstraps a hot cell from the wall. Alongside Unilit reading rags, hot cells are Pinnacle's favorite gift to give. There are a dozen aboard the Sarima. They're not as good as a proper stasis cask, but they can hold neutron-activated engine components or chemical spills or split fuel rods or even corpses. It beats inhaling fuel fleas. Miri used to play inside them, and Sami would shout, "Hey, hey, that's not for cats," and Miri would crouch and stare and make a noise like a duck, but not come out. Sami dips the hot cell into the pool of sheer starch. The strange stone bounces happily toward the hot cell, but a ridge of sheer starch builds up at the mouth, hardening as it rushes in. The stone skips off the scab, bounces off the safety barrier at the edge of the pool, and rolls like a deranged coin back down into the pool to ride the vortex. Like an orbit. Like a spaceship hurtling toward a black hole, but always just missing. Like a Voyager chasing a cat, never quite making contact. Like a dying traveler on the Worm's speaker's flight deck, trying to finish a sentence. never making it to the end before that killing wheeze catches up. Like that glint of perfect future. Always just out of reach, reaching, but it's gone. Sami shakes their head sharply. Remember your hunches. The metal man sent you to get something he couldn't get himself, but he only sent you instead of a whole gang of his minions because he wanted to limit his losses. Maybe this thing puts a curse on you when you touch it. Maybe you only live 12 days. Maybe slivers grow inside you and jump out your ears. But whatever it does, the metal man wants it. And if the metal man gets what he wants, then Sami has a chance to fix their ship and keep going, keep flying, keep searching. Walls, Sami says. Sheesh, Tan. No, don't ask Tan. He hates to make choices. Anyway, he's outside. Miri, should I do it? Should I grab it? The voice in the pool says, Chosen one. A part of Sami says, You're never going to find Miri. You're never going to keep the ship. And you know it. Nothing you do can get you any further from her. You have nothing to lose. So just do it. Reach down and grab it. Sami leans down, reaches out. The stone ricochets around the perimeter of the pool and races for Sami's hand like it's coming home. The voice in the noise is louder now, and it's not saying chosen or chosen one or chosen one or even chosen one. It says choosing one. Captain, Tannuk says. Captain, hey, Captain? Captain Sami. Captain, stay with me. Captain! Sami whirls in shock. Something terrible has happened. Tannuk's armor is cracked and burnt. Huge spines of black glass protrude from his back. His work claws are split open, broken by some terrible effort. Tannuk struggles forward toward Sami. You sure caught up quick, Sami says. What did you do? Get in a fight with a mining shed? Tannuk lifts his armored gauntlets. He's carrying something in them. He raises it toward the pool as if offering it. Something speckled, black and burnt. A disfigured, melting suit of risk armor, trailing buckles and straps and severed cables, a shattered visor, a stain of mold, a staring face. Sami reels away. That can't be. That can't be. Tan, what? Tannuk reaches for the thing in the pool. Hey, Sami shouts. Wait, let me get it in the hot cell. They lunge, trying to knock Tannuk's gauntlet aside. Their armored gauntlet smashes into the hot cell cask and breaks the caul, plugging its throat. A gulp of fluid rushes into the cask, pulling the stone into its heart, hardening around it and dropping it like a big spitball right down into the cask. Sami almost gets away clean, but on the way in, the rock knocks against Sami's gauntlet. It isn't really touching, is it? Touching armor that's touching layers of suit that's touching Sami's skin? Why does that count as touching? Maybe because the armor goes wherever Sami chooses to go, so it counts as part of them. Tannuk drops the mass in their arms into the inspection pool, trying to keep it safe. After all, this is a perfect place to keep something safe. It's not me. It's not me, Sami thinks. It's not me. It can't be me. But the rock's touch has knocked Sami off balance. And now they are falling into the pool. Falling exactly where that blasted armor has fallen, as if drawn to match. Falling into their own dead and staring eyes. No! You will come to nothing. Gasp! Oh, walls, it hurts to breathe. Gasp again! Oh, that sucks! Do it again. Now you're coughing and it hurts. Good job, fool. But you deserve it, don't you? Do it again. Cough harder. Hurt harder, you fool. This is how it often is when Sami wakes up. This time they feel, touch before sight, like a cough, that something is holding them down and they try to twist away. But it's just Tan. Hey, easy, Captain, easy. You had a respiratory attack. You fell pretty hard. I think you might be allergic to the mold in your suit. Sarima. Sami's in their bunk on Sarima, and that roar, that vibration. They're under fusion thrust. They're back in space. Tan, the War Makers. How did you get past the... Are we going to be intercepted? Tan inhales slowly, sifting air through his poison taster sinus. Did you dream about Warmakers? There were 4 Hoplite Warmakers, I remember. The Pale Star set them on everyone trying to escape. Tan tugs one of his dangling horn hairs, a very literal Kav gesture for hang on a moment. He peers one-eyed at a diagnostic patch on Sammy's forehead. Sammy tries to ask about the Warmakers again, but Tan tugs sharply on his horn hair, turns, and studies the diagnostic patch with his other eye. I don't think there's any brain damage, he says. I understand that's very serious in humans. Kav brains are a bit like livers, except instead of filtering toxins, they process physical trauma. You seem to have avoided any new excesses of character. Tan, the colony, the people, they were killing the people! But it's all going. It's sliding like muck through Sammy's fingers, like shear starch down a drain. Oh, to have Tan's stable attention stack. There was a colony, there were people, and they screamed and they ran. The ground around them erupted in black flowers. This awful light came down and rastered over them like it was checking each of them for a barcode. Beads of glass bled from the soil. People fell or vanished, and they left burned shapes in the clay. No, none of that happened. Sammy pants in fear and runs hands through sweat-soaked white hair, and cannot for the life of them remember why they were so afraid. We dodged a Pale Star on the way in, Tan says. A solar night patrol. But they went off chasing ghosts. Remember? And Sigma's reach was empty. There was no one to be burned into the clay. Tan, what happened to me? I found you in the QA cyst, attached to one of the mining sheds. You found a weird rock. You put it in a cask. You had a respiratory attack after sprinting around inhaling mold. I carried you back to the ship. Then I had nothing to do but read about human brain injuries and get the ship pre-flighted. Since you weren't around, I followed your plan and got us flying again. Best to do before the Pale Star came back and saw us. You know solar nights, liable to run a few figures and then decide that vaporizing us extends the bright sum. Yes, they would be liable to do that. The solar nights and the whole Sunstar faith compute their idea of goodness on scales so large that they tend to crush the small. If it's mathematically likely that your presence might distract them from an enemy maneuver that reduces their chance of victory fractionally, thus jeopardizing, in ultima, the future of all stars in the cosmos, it becomes morally imperative to erase you, just for the crime of possibly distracting them. Or so Sammy understands it, anyway. Wait, Tan, the cask. What did you do with it? I didn't do anything, Tan says. You left it? No, I did what you wanted. You seemed like you wanted to take it with us, so I had the Meccans take the cask to the Sarima and load it up. It's here. It's on board. Tan shrugs elaborately, all the way from hair horns to claw tips, as if to say, don't you dare blame me, it wasn't my choice. I thought it must be what the metal man sent us to get. Wasn't it? Yes, maybe. I don't know. It was certainly the strangest thing there, and it was in the right spot. Locked up in a cyst waiting for human retrieval. Are we safe? Is it doing anything? These questions go on Tan's stack, and he gives the first one a proper think before replying. Well, we're on a busted-up, broken-down torch about 12 years overdue for a rebuild. We've got 2 crew on a ship that flies with no less than 6. Our flight plan's been rejected, so we could at any moment be hailed and arrested for unauthorized discharge of a fusion engine in a populated system, and we're burning by a war zone so vicious that even Pinnacle's staying clear. Which means we've got no one to so much as squawk a protest on our behalf if we get atomized by a passing solar night, or taken by monoists and thrown into Sothera to help it grow. So, no, we aren't safe. Does the addition of a weird rock make a major difference to our safety? I'm not sure I'm qualified to assess that. Okay, very fair. Where are we burning? Now Tan looks really worried about the state of Sammy's head. To the next place on our flight plan. Tan, please just pretend I'm not quite in my right mind and tell me. We're going to Kavaron, of course, where we told Pinnacle we were going. If we don't finish our flight plan, how will the Metal Man meet us? Okay. Kavaron, you're okay going back there? It is, after all, Tan's homeworld, and he is forbidden from ever going home. Well, Tan says diffidently, on Kavaron we dig a lot. We dig up things long buried, so we need ways, very reliable ways, of locking things up. Therefore, Pinnacle gifts us stasis casks. Tan, you're brilliant. It's the perfect place to stash a weird artifact. A stasis cask contains a loop in space-time, an orbit along which everything falls at an appallingly rapid pace. So rapid, and therefore so sludgy with time dilation, that, to the outside world, it seems frozen. Like those black glass flowers around the processing sheds. Fulgurites, the Vi claimed. Lightning strikes that just happen to look like people. Tan, when I was looking for the cat, there wasn't a cat, was there? Lots of things that sounded like a cat. No cat. I saw things. Like people had burned up and left their shadows behind, I thought. A terrible thing had happened, and they could not remember it. They could only remember the fear, and the need to run deeper into the fear to save something. Like on the Worm Speaker, where they were almost a hero. Except that, unlike the real heroes, they survived. But the source of the fear is obscured now, swallowed up in itself, like the sun Sothera swallowed by its own darkling core. A terrible thing dwells inside Sami, buried between heart and spine, like a sliver embryo. Tan turns his head to face Sami straight on. This is like looking away for a Kav. Neither of his eyes can quite focus straight forward, but it is not the same as ignoring Sami, because even without sight, Tan's wide mouth and all the keen nostrils inside can still taste the air. I saw the same things, Tan says, but I can't decide what they meant. It was all explainable by coincidence, a series of ghastly coincidences. People putting their hands together in the spilled water, what could that mean? Or was it just wind-blown gloves? Crampton Severine, Sami says. If you insist. Tan's jaw churns, reaching out, huffing in air, bringing it back to Tan's poison-taster sinus. There is one strange thing. One more strange thing? While you were out, I checked the local Mallow registry. I wanted to know what kind of things we might be able to ask for on Kavaron. I noticed the gift value of Moxite's been sliding, steadily, for the past 10 years. Where? On Kavaron? Everywhere in Sothera. As if Moxite were becoming more common. Yes, like someone opened a new Moxite mine here. Maybe the mine at Sigma's ranch. But the mine never started exporting. Nobody showed up to work it. The Meccans can't do it all themselves, Tan. There are rules. Meccans, left to their own devices, tend to optimize their work into absurdity. I agree. The registry agrees. The mine never opened. The Moxite supply never grew. The value's just been sliding. You decide what it means. He reaches over to Sami to adjust the medical sleeve. You should rest. I'm going to clean out your armor. Too much mold. We're almost out of enzyme cleaner. Don't forget to dilute it down. Enzyme cleaner? I was going to lick it all out. Tan! I'm joking. All that tasty mold is ruined with human smell. Tan, that's disgusting. You think eating mold is disgusting. I think it's disgusting when you leak salty, hormone-rich coolant from your entire skin. Now we can both find your armor disgusting. All right, point taken. Don't forget to... I won't, Tan says, without even knowing what Sami will ask. I never forget. We'll be clear in range of the Kavaron Vorspin soon enough. I'll wake you then. This act is finished. Everything is in motion. You can follow Sami and Tan if you want, jump straight ahead to their arrival on Kavaron. But something else is happening that I want to show you. Something very important. Don't worry. We'll get back to Sami and Tan and the Sarima and Miri. Everything comes together in the end. Everything.